Hi, I'm John DiNicola with Behringer, where we've just released the final version of the X32's version 2.0 firmware. The 2.0 firmware is a free download on Behringer.com for all X32 users and provides a wealth of new features and enhancements to the X32 workflow. So the first feature I'd like to take a look at is going to be the new 100-band RTA that's built right into the console. So you'll notice when I press the meters page, there's a new tab titled RTA that brings up a nice big 100-band RTA. It works in a bar graph mode as well as a spectrograph mode. And you can view it here on either your monitor signal or whatever channel you have selected. But it also overlays on all of the EQs in the console. So if I look at the parametric EQ, it can overlay here. It can even overlay on my graphic EQs, so I can see exactly what's happening as I make adjustments. Really powerful, and again, that's built right into the console. There's also a spectrograph mode, which is really cool as well. In addition to the 100-band RTA, we also have a new scene management system, which makes the console a lot more powerful in a sense of being able to pre-program your shows. So the new home screen that you're going to see on the scenes menu is now called the cue list. The cue list has 500 cues, and it consists of scenes, which you've had before, and a new item called snippets. Snippets are going to allow you to select certain channels or parameters and save those to be loaded specifically on top of a scene. So if I want to do a different EQ, for example, on my drum channels, I could have that be a particular snippet. So I can load my scene and load that snippet, and only those channels and those EQs would be affected. So each cue of the 500 cues can contain a scene, a snippet, or both. So that you can see with 100 scenes and 100 snippets and 500 cues, there's a lot more powerful options now when it comes to pre-programming your shows in the console. We've also made some enhancements which makes it a lot easier to use 2 or more X32 consoles together. For example, maybe a console at front of house and at monitor position. And you'll find these options tucked away on the preamps page of the setup menu, where you'll find some really powerful little checkboxes here. One of them is going to be the new gain split mode. So basically when you enable the gain split mode, first you would set the analog gains, and then you would enable the gain split mode. And now each console would have an independent plus or minus 18 dB trim that wouldn't affect the other console. So very powerful for a front of house monitor situation. There's also another checkbox which allows for remote control of another X32's preamps from another X32 console. So this is very handy if maybe you're using an X32 rack console as a stage box. Now you can actually control those preamps remotely. Another really exciting new feature we can find in the P16 page of the routing menu is a new IQ setup page. And what this is for is our new acoustic integration with the Turbo Sound IQ speakers that were launched at this year's NAMM show. So what this page is going to allow us to do is the IQ speakers actually connect to the console via the Ultranet port. So you can send your signals to multiple speakers through a single Ethernet cable, and you can set it all up on the console. So on the screen you see here, you can actually trigger presets on the speakers for different speaker emulations on the IQ speakers, as well as loading different user presets. And you can get that all set up right on the console face without having to run on the stage and adjust the speakers from the back. You can do it right on the console. We've also added a number of new effects in the version 2.0, 15 new processors in total. Just to give you a quick glimpse of what we have, here's our EQ from before, but we've also added a number of physically modeled classic processors. For example, the old Behringer Edison processor, some compressors such as a Fairchild, the LA2A 1176 emulations. We also have some new delay effects, and a number of new reverbs, and very importantly, a multi-band compressor, which is a heavily requested feature. So again, 15 new effects plugins, physically modeled classic processors, again, all free of charge. We've also added support for our new expansion cards in the version 2.0 firmware, including the X-ADAT, X-Dante, and X-MADI cards. You can configure these expansion cards from the card page of the setup menu. One additional features for our X32 compact and producer users is the new input fader spill. Previously you had 8 input faders and 8 output faders. Now you have the ability to spill all 16 channels across the surface of the console. To do so, simply just press 2 layer buttons at the same time. So I can press the 1 through 8 and 9 through 16 layer buttons, and now I have all 16 channels spilled across the console. And I can also choose any 2 layers I want. So I could say maybe channels 1 through 8 and effects returns, but any combination can be spilled across all 16 faders for maximum flexibility. One final feature I'd like to mention is we've added quite a bit to the preset library on the X32. This used to be an empty library where you could save your presets for certain EQ, compressor settings, and maybe effects. And you can still do that, but we've provided some starting points for you. But we didn't just provide our presets, we actually reached out to some of our friends in the field, engineers, producers that are using X32s out there, and we asked them to provide their presets for us. So you'll notice these are labeled, for example, you're looking at the Whiskey A Go-Go, a famous club in Los Angeles. They're using X32s, and some of their presets are here are available to you. And we also have a number of other presets from engineers, such as Peter Mercier, who works with Daryl Hall and John Oates on the Live with Daryl show. So this is just a little bit of an overview. There's a number of feature enhancements, so I definitely would advise any X32 owners to get on Behringer.com and check out this free update today.